The time is 9 o'clock.
Aago mẹ́sàn-án ti lù.
For the best of national, local, international news and sport, tune in to News Punch and Diamond 88.7 FM. News Punch, all about the news.
It's exactly 9 a.m. A very good morning to you, and thank you for joining us on today's edition of the News Punch, reaching you from Diamond 88.7 FM in Lorry. This is where we bring you the trending stories across the globe. My name is Bisola, Oduwole, Suleiman, and here are the stories making the waves across the world. Preventing officials of the anti-graft agency from assessing their workplace was brought to his attention. It said that the president said if there were issues between the two important agencies of the government, they would be resolved amicably. Still in Nigeria, Ekiti State Governor Oduwole has directed all filling stations across the state to start selling fuel within the approved price or risk being shut down indefinitely. Consequently, the governor has mandated the State Task Force on Petroleum Products and Security Agencies in the state to move round filling stations starting from this morning to enforce the directive. Governor Oyebanji handed down these directives during a meeting he held with the leadership of the National Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, NUPENG, and Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, members of the State Task Force, and heads of security agencies in the state at the governor's office at Ekiti on Tuesday. And on the foreign scene, Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni has approved a law to stop the stealing of human organs and tissues. Local media have in recent years reported cases of women recruited for domestic work in the Middle East being conned into medical procedures, after which their kidneys are sold in global trafficking rings. In a tweet, Health Minister Jane Acheng thanked Museveni for signing the Ugandan Human Organ Donation, the Uganda Human Organ Donation and Transplant Bill 2023 to better regulate the area. And lastly, in the world of sport, Manchester United manager Eric Ten Hag will be without Anthony Martial for this weekend's FA Cup final against Manchester City. Martial is out of the game with a hamstring injury. The Frenchman has hit a bit of form recently, scoring twice in the last 4 games in Premier League victories over Wolves and Chelsea. He also played 85 minutes of the FA Cup semi-final win over Brighton. However, he will not feature against City at Wembley, with the season effectively over. And that's all we have for you on this morning's edition of the News Sponge. Coming up next is the Diamond Breakfast Show, where we take a look at the analysis of some of the major stories making the rounds. Just stay with us. We will be right back.
The major talking points in Nigeria are always on the lips of the citizens.
What's going on in this country? Look at smaller countries taking lead, and you call yourself giant of Africa. Yeah.
Nigeria don't spoil my business too much. Nigeria is too hard for us. I mean, I want to kill us. Father, not kill us for Nigeria. Oh, please, help us beg them.
They should reduce their expenditure so that they can free enough money for social development.
I wish for a Nigeria where we elect a leader based on competency and not popularity.
On the Diamond Breakfast Show, we place the spotlight on the critical issues in the country.
Can prioritize construction of an additional runway over education of the people.
How can you hold in domain? This is intolerable. It's provocative.
Now, you see, when you look at our democratic journey, we are yet to practice genuine democratic system in Nigeria.
Join us on Mondays to Friday on the DBS from 9 to 10 a.m. The Diamond Breakfast Show, amplifying the voice of the people.
From the studios of Diamond 88.7 FM in Lorry, this is the Diamond Breakfast Show.
It's another beautiful Wednesday morning. It's exactly 5 minutes gone past 9 a.m. this morning, and it's good to be back here. This is the Diamond Breakfast Show, where we take a look at the analysis of some of the major stories making the rounds. We talk about the stories in the studio with our guest analyst, and then we also open up the phone line to you so you can send in your reactions and comments, and also participate in this conversation for this morning. My name is Bisola Oduwole Suleiman, and I'm your host on the Diamond Breakfast Show. And with me this morning to do the analysis is Mr. Bashir Oladipo, a legal practitioner, a public affairs analyst, and a social commentator. A very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. My pleasure. Good morning, listeners.
Good morning.
Thank you so much.
All right. The conversation this morning is about the president's pronouncement on subsidy. Dubbed as the best decision to move the country forward, the president leaves some questions on the lips of many Nigerians. Fueling stations picked up on the development and subsequently hiked the price of PMS. The problem has persisted since Monday's declaration by the president. Here in the State of Harmony, Chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum (NGF) and Kwara State Governor Abdurrahman Abdurrazak yesterday cautioned oil marketers to avoid imposing needless hardship on the citizens through creation of artificial fuel scarcity in the state and beyond. The governor in the statement said he is seriously concerned about reports of sudden fuel scarcity in different parts of the state. He asked the fuel marketers to immediately discharge fuel to the public under the normal pricing system since they had bought what they currently have at subsidized rates. The statement added that the deputy governor of the Kayode Alabi will be leading a task force to ensure that no fuel marketer causes undue hardship to the citizens in Kwara State. So this morning we'll be taking a look at this conversation, and we've also seen in several other states that the governors have come out to say that there are task forces who will be going round to ensure that these marketers sell fuel at the approved pump price or at the regular price that they have been selling before the president's announcement on Monday. So what is, let me first take your reaction to the immediate decision by oil marketers to hike the price. Was it a development that we have been waiting for? Was it something we envisaged before now? You had to take a deep breath and a sigh.
Yeah, because you see why I had to be a little bit silent is because Nigerians, we are not patriotic. And we enjoy cashing up on the populace for our own benefits without considering what it will bring. The president said that he didn't say the subsidy is removed. He said it will be removed. It has not been removed. And the budget prepared, passed, still have the budget as of this moment, the subsidy as of this moment. Now, but see, it's going to solve a lot of problems in the country. The problem that we solve is the government is subsidizing, and yet we are not buying at the subsidized rate. And we have not been buying at subsidized rates for more than 6 months now, if I'm getting it right. So it's what they are doing now is not a new thing. But what will have been a new thing will have been the government agency in charge of this should have taken step. The governors making pronouncements is a little bit, with due respect to the governor, His Excellency, and the executive, I don't think it's going to be effective. What they would have done was to call the DPR in charge and ask them to go around and ensure that price is maintained. And any one that is not maintaining the price, then the place can be locked up. There are sanctions for failing to sell the right price. But the authority, the agency with power to enforce that sanction is the DPR.
All right, Mr. Bashir. Now, a lot of people have said in different quarters that well as laudable as this announcement made by the president is, that it should have uh, it should have come with more orders or defined orders or rules, noting that with the kind of people that we are as Nigerians, as marketers as they are, that something like this, they should have envisaged that something like this would happen. So there should have been defined orders that, okay, this is going to happen, subsidy will be taken out, but in the meantime, this and this and this will be put in place to ensure that people do not take advantage of that announcement. Do you also agree with that statement? Because this is something that a lot of people have been talking about, that it should have been done in a better way. It's a very good announcement, but other things should have come alongside it when the announcement was made.
Like I said earlier, unless I'm not hearing the president well, he has not said subsidy is removed.
So why then do we have the hike in
That's what I'm
fuel?
saying. Is because we are not disciplined, and the agency required to work has not been working. And that is why we have been facing the same problem persistently for almost since the inception of this administration. You see, they will tell us they want to remove subsidy, and later they will say they were not removing subsidy, but then the price is high. We have bought petrol 350 naira. We have bought as much as 400 naira. Before it came back and stabilized at 210 or 220, which is not even the subsidized price. But the thing is, what has government done? So I hope the administration of His Excellency Ahmed, because we won't say senator again, because the presidency is better than is higher than the Senate. So his presidency, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I hope his administration will not be like the past administration, where there is very gross high level of lack of coordination and indiscipline. Because when agency is in charge of something and people are violating it, and I've not seen, in fact, I don't know whether DPR or whatever they call them is existing again. You understand? People just decide to do whatever they like without recourse and thinking about the sanction that the law has provided, because
without
the agency,
anybody holding them.
yeah, because the agency that's supposed to act is not acting. You see, I remember before now, even if the state government will set up any tax force, they work in conjunction with the DPR, because the DPR that have the legal right to seal up any station. They are the one who can say sell off the whatever is in that station, because they have that power. You understand? But the executive governor of Kwara State, with due respect to him, has no power to do that. So what I think every state government should do is to engage the federal government. There must be coordination in the administration. You see, we should stop this era where the state is doing what it likes, the federal is doing what it likes, the one ministry is doing what it likes, one agency is there. There's no coordination. I think with the new president, I think this will be the third day of inception. So let's see what will happen in the next 1 month and see whether it will still be the kind of the kind of thing we have been seeing. If it continues, no matter his policy, no matter how intelligent he is, no matter how hard he works, things may not work. There must be coordination, and every segment of the government should work hand in hand in order to achieve and meet up with the regular with the desired goal. Otherwise, we'll still be where we are.
Now, we've talked about the government, what they need to do. You also mentioned while you were talking earlier about the level of patriotism of Nigerians. Now, do you think the Nigerian sense of patriotism is something, or is one of the key problems in our development in this country? Because let's also take a look at what happened when President Muhammad Buhari closed the borders. Local prices of rice skyrocketed without any excuse. Rice that people could easily get now become a very difficult thing to get. Local rice that a lot of people were not eating, but since there's more demand for that, they increased the price. So do you think our level of patriotism is one of the key problems that we have in the development of this country?
Yeah, it's one of the key problems. But let me just divert a little to the issue of rice, so that because people are getting a lot of things wrong when it comes to agriculture. You see, before now, most of the production in agriculture line had done more of local. But now, with government expansion, the BOI intervention, a lot of value chain is being added.
All right.
You understand? And this also demand a lot of capital. So, and and because of that thing, it created, or is going to create a lot of jobs. And with that, cost of production will be higher, and the quality of production will be different. Okay. So obviously, price will go up.
All right.
And then people fail to realize one thing. You see, if you buy something in Nigeria at the rate of 20,000 naira, and you buy it outside Nigeria at the rate of 10,000 naira, it's still better for the country that you buy the one that is in the country at 20,000, because the reason is this: the 20,000 you used to buy in Nigeria is still circulating within the economy of Nigeria, but the 10,000 you're taking out has reduced the economy of the country, whereas that money is going to another country
to develop another country.
Exactly. So these are the issues. But sometimes, maybe because of the lack of economy understanding of some of these things, you see, we tend to say, why will the price go up again? Mind you, most of the things you use in agriculture today are being imported. And chemical, I remember chemical was being sold at the rate of 750. That was as late as the late 20s, to 2019, 2018, you know, 750. The same chemical you are buying at 750 is now almost 5,000. Some at 3,000 something, 4,000 something. You understand? Now, leave that. Labor cost has risen. And all these things, seed price has risen. So if you are putting all these things incorporate them into the cost of production, these are the issues. It's not about the closing of the border. Whether you closed the border or you didn't close the border, the price of this thing will still go up. The only thing that will have happened was that people will have left, because if it's not paying, people won't produce.
They will leave the
They will leave it. You see, why are people talking of rice? What about maize? Do you realize that maize was being sold a bag for 5,000, 3,000, 2,005 before? And now it's being sold for almost 20,000, 15,000, 18,000 per bag.
All right.
So all these things, you know, it's not a matter of saying because they closed border. After all, they didn't close border. The issue of maize does not arise. Will not affect the issue of border closing. Right. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
Understand.
So my point is, I agree that patriotism is very, very important in the country. And this patriotism cut across every facet and every sector of our living.
All right.
Particularly is much more important from our leaders. They should lead by example. You see, you cannot expect the populace to see somebody who is earning, like when the vice president was talking the other time, he said the salary of the president and himself, I think, is about $1 million or thereabouts. But when you now see obviously the salary of the governor cannot reach that of the president. You understand my point? But you now see a governor, not even a governor, a senator, buying a vehicle of 40 million naira. So you start building a house that you know worth more than 500 million. So you start wondering, where did they get this money? What is the patriotism? They are supposed to do certain things which they failed to do. You get my point? For example, I used to say one thing. I was listening to the president, to the governor, when he was taking his oath of office, when the CJ. And part of the oath of office is that I am going to protect, I'm going to ensure that the fundamental principle objective that is going to respect it and ensure that it's implemented is going to rule by the Constitution. And the Constitution says everybody in the country must respect the rule of law. And the same governor has failed to respect the rule of law when he single-handedly with the state assembly suspended the local government. Even when the court now says you don't have that right, he failed to return them back. So the same governor, are you now saying you are upholding and protecting the law of the land? So the next person that thing that would have happened was to see the House of Assembly initiating proceedings that will let the governor know that you are violating the law you sworn to protect. So this patriotism needs to come from the leaders.
Okay.
You understand? It needs, because when I see my leader, when I see you doing what is patriotic, you understand, I'll be forced to follow.
All right.
You understand? But when the leaders themselves are not patriotic enough, then obviously you can see the followers, we have nothing. They will have nobody to look up to. And that is the situation in the country.
All right, so they should lead by example.
Yeah, they should lead by example.
All right, now let's quickly wrap up this particular conversation on subsidy. What are the things you feel the government should put in place to ensure a smooth transition into a no subsidy era?
For me,
and how fast
should
they put these things in
place?
Is
it for me? The past administration had already put things, but I don't know how they are doing it. You see, they have privatized MPC. So if you privatize a company, why, for God's sake, will you not be giving dashing money to that company? You get my point. So let the company is supposed to be profitable and pay back dividends to the shareholders. So it's not the company giving them. So the moment they do all these things, you see everything working perfectly.
All right.
You get my point. Now, secondly, people are saying the government's supposed to do this. They put in some palliative. They do. You see, they have done all this and it has always failed. You understand? And why is it failing? We're not going to tell government any new thing to do because they've been doing it. Remember during the Jonathan era, they said they bought a vehicle. The National Transport Association, they made a lot of money from government. A lot of groups made money from government. But the patriotism of an average Nigerian does not allow us to feel it. You understand? So they know what to do. The problem is, how patriotic are they in implementing all these things?
So it's still
yes. So we need a dedicated leader who leads by example and is ready to discipline people who mess around.
All right.
You see, if you don't do that, there'll be problem here and there.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Bashir. Don't forget, we're live on Facebook at Diamond 887 FM and YouTube, Diamond FM Ilorin. You can send in your contributions via text or WhatsApp 091 3655 6864. 09136556864, and then you can call us on 0800887 887 or 09136556952. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Jason.
All right, good morning, Dr. Zill. Go ahead.
This is really in the city, and I really appreciate his clear analysis because government, when we say it this way, that leadership is the number one thing. Patriotism starts from the leader before we talk about the people, because the leaders are leading the people. So if they do well, people will follow them well, and there will be proper discipline. But when you have a leader that are not patriotic, sometimes I say the question in Nigeria that are we really sure that these are our leaders are Nigerians? Because if they are, the patriotism is supposed to see them. We should see, for example, the new president is supposed to know that even if he says subsidy is gone, he should know that there should be some other things supposed to say that this does not mean people should have to go. We're supposed to add that to it because it's now most of the most important person in Nigeria. And whatever he says, Nigeria should be moved to work as government is doing. So that is one thing I think that our leaders should be having with their patriotism. That when you say something, they should also give a form of penalty to whoever that goes contrary to whatever that that is on ground. And state governors are chairman issues. Try to support federal government in making sure this issue of fuel whatever is actually a thing of a fact that nobody has to.
All right. All right, Dr. Zil, thank you very much. Thank you. But do the people need to be told what to do before they do the right thing?
That is it.
Do they need to be told? Do they have to wait for somebody or for the president to tell them do not increase the price of fuel before they know they are not supposed to?
And that's what I'm saying, that the patriotism is not there one. And because the patriotism is not there, the agents that are supposed to work are not working. You understand my point? Because when they see this thing, go out throughout the country. Most of these petrol stations are owned by people, by staff of MPC, either retire or not retire. They scatter out. So why will they stop? And I remember one in the book of this, the former leader, the late leader of Kim Lee, late leader of all this country, very close to Malaysia. I forgot the name of the country.
All right.
The man said that the moment those who supposed to regulate and be the referee are also participants, then the country is gone. So a situation where you have people who supposed to be the one regulating and ensuring that things are done the right way are also participating. The person who is giving the contract is the one taking the contract. Then how is going to manage the contract? Is the one giving the contract. How will he manage the contract? He can't manage it.
Right.
And that is the situation in the country. Unlike before, when you are a civil servant, you can do any job. Now you see civil servants even competing with government.
All right, let's quickly take this reaction. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Rex Olatunde. We are calling from Iceland.
All right, good morning, sir. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. I think we do not have a garrulous new government on our hands. I wondered when I heard the president mention in his inaugural speech that the subsidy is gone, making it look like a policy of his new government. No, it isn't. General Muhammad Buhari has already done this before he left government. The provisions made for subsidy was only up till June. I understand his media and PR handler probably wanted to cash in on the wave of the moment and make it look like it was their policy. But they never factored in the greed of the independent marketers. That hasn't been done. Let us call it what it is. Greed. That's what is worrying our independent marketers. They have no reason shutting down their stations, and I think government should really clamp down on them now.
All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Rex. Thank you for calling. 09136556952. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Thank you. My name is Zikora, calling from Ilorin.
All right, Zikora, good to have you. Go ahead, please.
I just want to say one thing. I put a hole in what the man in the studio said. He said Nigerians should know that it's better for them to buy a bag of something for 20,000 naira in the country than to buy for 10,000 naira outside, because the money is going to be circulating within the country. I'm going to be very honest. I don't know if he's saying that am I doing it for my own benefit or for the benefit of the country? Just like asking them on FM studio that they should hire an engineer from Nigeria who would cost them 5 million naira to fix a problem that they have, than hire somebody from China who will cost them 2 million naira to do the exact same work. Yeah, you know that someone who obviously go for the one for 2 million naira. It's as simple as that. Everybody wants to go for what will help them save more money. So it makes absolutely no sense asking Nigerians that it's better for them to pay 20k for something they could get for 10k at the same value, for the same price, for a lower price, for the same work that will do the same job. So honestly, for me, it makes absolutely no sense. That's what I call to say.
All right, thank you so much, Ikora. Thank you for sharing your opinion. But of course, people have different opinions about different things. All right, let's quickly take this one. Hello. Hello. Good morning. Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Adana, the Imam from Kwara State.
All right, go ahead in a few seconds, please. We need to go on a short time.
All right. Kudos to analysts in the studio. I'm aligned with what he said, that we should be patriotism all what we are doing in Nigeria as a Nigerian. I urge the populace and urging giving them to do all what you can do to make sure that they are patriotic in what they are doing. According to a quote by Adam Smith, he said, where there is great poverty, there is great poverty in their vicinity. I'm urging the individual to do all what you can do with patriotic. God bless Nigeria.
All right. He's urging everyone to be patriotic. We need to go on a short time out. When we come back, we will take more of your reactions and also move on to the second story for the day. Do stay with us. It is still the Diamond Breakfast Show.
kò sí mọ́ àwọn ká ti sá lọ àrùnmọ́lẹ́gùn ẹ̀yìn dídùn làkúrẹ́ gbé wọ́n ti lọ wá bí wọ́n sí kára o lè pé bàmù rẹ̀ àtòrà dáadáa.
kókó lára ọ̀tá le. gbéra ńlẹ̀ kó dìde. kára o lè pè ń bá. àtòrà wọ̀ àtòrà pẹ̀sẹ̀ àtòrà dáadáa. kegun tó kegun náà. kára o ya gágá. ara ń ronú tẹ́lẹ̀ kò ronú mọ́. tẹ̀bá ti fi kára o lè pè ń bá ra. lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ ló ń ṣiṣẹ́ wọnú igun. tó sì ń ṣe àtúntò rẹ̀. òṣùbù yẹ̀kẹ́ fa párọ̀ tàbí fi ẹsẹ̀ dá. fi kára o lè pè ń bá wọ̀. káì ara rẹ̀ ó lè padà yakinlala. action ó jẹ́ àwọ̀ká àròmọ̀lẹ́gun làkúègbé ara ríro tàbí ẹ̀yìn dídùn. kára o lè pè ń bá lọ́kọ̀ gbogbo wọn. agbára pọ̀ kára ó lè pè ń bá. tuyi pharmaceutical industries limited. àwọn tó lórúkọ tó ṣe é gbẹ́kẹ̀lé níbi ká po oògùn òyìnbó ló ṣe é. kára ó lè pè ń bá. ẹ̀rọ ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ pín ìrèpàtú òpèrè ta pàtà pọ́npọ́n. kára ó lè pè ń bá. ó kì í síbẹ̀.
kára ó lè pè ń bá múre àtúrà dáadáa.
The federal government, through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, announces the availability of COVID-19 and childhood vaccines nationwide. With the disturbing increase in reported cases of COVID-19 infections across Nigeria, protect yourself and loved ones from the harmful virus by getting vaccinated. Visit the nearest public or private health facility and mass vaccination sites today to receive the first, second, or booster doses of COVID-19 vaccines. COVID-19 vaccines are given to persons 18 years and above, including pregnant women and breastfeeding mothers, while childhood vaccines are given to children from birth to 5 years for protection against polio, hepatitis, yellow fever, measles, meningitis, and other vaccine-preventable diseases. All vaccines are free, safe, and effective. For inquiries, visit www.nphcda.gov.ng or call 0700 220 1122.
This message is brought to you by the National Primary Health Development Agency in collaboration with the Nigeria Red Cross Society with support from the Africa CDC SLL program.
All right, welcome back. You're still tuned in and listening to the Diamond Breakfast Show, reaching you from Diamond 88.7 FM, Lorient. This morning, we're having a very interesting conversation about the pronouncement made by the president on subsidy and the reactions of independent marketers, some closing down their filling stations and some also selling at skyrocketed prices. There was a hike in the price in the past few days, 1 or 2 days, and we're having increases in prices. What are your reactions to this, and what can we do? What is the way forward? We can take your reactions via text or WhatsApp 091 3655 6864. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, madam.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Mr. Davis calling from Shao.
All right, Mr. Davis, go ahead.
Yes, I thank God for this morning, and I thank the analyst in the house.
All right.
You have said a lot of things. The only thing I want to add more is that an average Nigerian is a fortune. Those who profit for the misfortune of others. How can people who have wealth, it's high time for the government to use the big stick and big hammer to let them know that there's government in place? On the issue of this government don't take into active measure that started yesterday, because it gave direction to the DSS that they should vacate the office of the SEC in Lagos. And immediately, they did that. You have gone away with the cruelest, the immediate past cruelest regime. This is a regime that made this for me.
All right.
I should continue to support and pray for it.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that contribution. I will get more reactions via text or WhatsApp, but we need to quickly move on to the second conversation for the day. The National Industrial Court yesterday upheld the no work, no pay rule by the federal government in the suit filed against the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. According to the court, the no work, no pay rule enforced by the federal government against members of ASU who went on strike last year is perfectly legal. In a judgment delivered by the president of the court, Justice Benedict Kanyeb, the court held that it is within the right of the federal government to withhold salaries of workers who embark on industrial action. This is an unexpected development. What would this have on the academic staff union in the nearest future when they consider strike actions as a means to air their grievances?
Let me say this, it's not unexpected.
So it was expected.
Yeah.
But for the academic staff, it was unexpected. They did not expect this judgment.
They should expect it too, because we have lawyers among them. You see, when it comes to strike, you cannot have a strike of 6 months. The law do not envisage that you should have a strike of 6 months. There is a minimum time for strike when you hang your pay. You understand? You can be breaking the strike. Maybe you strike 15 days. I can't remember precisely what the law says. I think it's just maybe 2 weeks or 1 week.
All right.
So if you strike for that 1 week, then you resume work back. Then after some time, you may go another 2 weeks. You understand? But not when you now go. That is refusing to work. You understand? That's exactly what we are saying. We lack patriotism in this country. It's not only, you see, it's both sides. Why, for God's sake, were ASU or lecturers who are supposed to encourage and ensure that they instill intellectual and theoretical and practical training in the youths or in the children, will now decide to go on strike for a whole year? Then, why will government, you understand, government and particularly the agency in charge of ensuring that disputes are resolved, will allow such a thing to happen before taking steps? You understand? My point is, if the law says they should stop the strike after 15 days, they won't hand money, can the court, can the agency decide to bring that and say, you know what the law says about this thing, and immediately they are not following that law, then go to the industrial court immediately. Then the issue will have been decided, and they will have known their fate, and then they will not sit down and strategize and say how they
stretching for
instead
this
of
long.
That is it. You see, look at it now. Nigeria are having backlog of about 3 sets of groups that are supposed to have gained admission into the university, and those 3 sets, they are now trying to find a way of getting them in. Maybe the 1 or 2 have entered now. You understand my point? Meanwhile, some students have lost a whole 1 year. Some lost more than that. You get my point? The same lecturer who are also studying lecturing in private university continue with that this thing. And what the private universities are paying is not even up to what the federal government is paying. The allowances, the benefits, people in the federal government are earning, people in the private university and who are working in the private university and some of this university are not taking it. So what is the problem?
Right.
So I think as lecturers, they should now sit down and now they're intellectual, look for ways to resolve disputes. And that is the essence of being in the university.
All right. Now, talking about looking for ways to resolve disputes, is this development a further indication that strikes are no longer a tool to fight for their rights?
Right. Strike has always been still there. It's still there. So, you see, the essence, law, law is not one-sided. Law protects both this side, the right and the left. The law wants to protect the employee and the employer and the society, because this thing, the society have interest in whatever is happening. You get it? The society suffered most from this strike than even the people, the player, that's the government and the ASU. So the society have interest, and that's why when law is being prepared, they prepare in such a way that they give room so that society will not be jeopardized for a long period. The law has been there that if you are going on strike, there is a minimum time that you can go out, a maximum time that you can go on strike at a time. So the stretching of going for strike has a limit. It's not as if you can go on strike indefinitely and then you'll be there for a while. You see Nigerians, they will just go, the labor law and say, we're on strike indefinitely. No, it can be indefinite. The law does not, there is nowhere in the world where law allows indefinite strike that will be there for years. No, there's nowhere.
All right. Now, historically, this strike, just like you mentioned, has been a weapon to get noticed by the government. It's been around for a very long time, and unions have used it to get their grievances aired from time to time. But now, with this judgment, do you think the government can understand unions and agree to their demands, knowing fully well what they stand to gain almost nothing if they go on strike for a long time?
If the
you think that they would reach agreements? Do you think the government would be ready to listen to them?
So when you are talking of government, there's no government that shouldn't listen when workers are talking. There's no government. But in a situation where you have people who do not have regards or respect or patriotic to the growth of the nation as leaders, you'll be facing problems like this. It's not only in respect of leaders in government alone, even in respect of leaders in institutions, leaders at various stages of our system. You understand? We discover when somebody, you see people, now you start hearing people talking of His Excellency, the presidency, President Tinubu has said this. They will not say, even you newscaster, when you are making news many times, you are not talking about even where the executive council, you say the president has approved. The president cannot approve when you have a meeting. When you have executive council meeting, it's the executive council that will approve anything. It's not president. And that is why you have the executive council. The president may be the chairman, may be the executive officer there, but then once that decision is taken there, it becomes the decision of the Federal Executive Council. But you will say they will say the
president will give the final go-ahead.
The moment it's approved, and that is why immediately it's finished. They finish the meeting. You will see one of the minister now briefing the pressmen, telling them at the Executive Council today, this is what was agreed on. But they will be telling you the president has this. So we personalize. What I'm going is that we personalize institutions too much in this country, and so people will now be looking at giving their loyalty to the individual leaders, not to the institutions. And you need to give your loyalty to institutions. When you give loyalty to an institution, you are giving loyalty to the society. And in that wise, your patriotism is being increased. But the moment you are giving your patriotism to an individual, once that individual leaves that government, you see that you shift your loyalty. So it will not be the caprices and the whims and caprices of the personality that will now be running the affair of the nation. And that's exactly what happened, that Hasu had to take that long. In fact, that was the longest period in the history of this nation. You understand? So you will see them now taking that long, stretch because government was not attending, was not listening. Look at how long it took for government to even say, come, what is your problem? Let's sit down. It took almost 6 months. And it took more than 6 months before the president even comes to say, I didn't even know Hasu was on strike. You can imagine something that is so national as that. So you will see that the problem is not about the strike itself, but the problem is about the management of the situation from both sides, both the ASU and the government. You understand? These are the issues.
Now, the court, however, held that it is a violation of university autonomy for the federal government to impose the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System, IPPIS platform, on members of ASU who reserve the right to determine how their salaries should be paid. This one is looking like, I can see you clapping, it's looking like a victory out of the many demands of the union. Or what do you think?
You see, I remember I had a program similar to this at Ray FM sometime when this issue, and I raised the issue that there's nothing concerning federal government about this ASU strike. What the ASU strike supposed to be between the lecturer and the council of different universities. And that time, I remember, I even cited the part of the federal the universities law that made them autonomy. And in developed country, what the federal government does is that each university will present the admission list of candidates.
Okay.
Fortunately, we have an agency doing that. That's JAM. So once they give admission, the federal government will now subsidize for each university based on the amount payable in that university. Because what they are paying in Lagos University may not be the Lagos University of Lagos may not be the same as what they will be paying at University of Maiduguri, and University of Maiduguri may not be the same as that what they are paying in University of Ilorin. So each university, government may now decide to say we will subsidize the students' fee by so percentage. So each university, once you have your admission, government will now give that to them as subsidy to the university. So it's left to the university how they spend their money, and that's why you see the president being called a visitor. I was reading on the death when they was talking about eulogy on the death of the Professor Oyawoye, of the first geologist in Nigeria and the first Nigerian geology lecturer. He said when they were in council, they related it. That when they were in council, Yakubu, when the head of state then, General Yakubu Gowon, the Excellency, that's the Emperor of Ethiopia, was coming down to Nigeria. So they now approached University of Ibadan that they wanted to give him an honorary doctorate degree of letters. And the council decided at their meeting that the Senate decided at their meeting that there is no grant for them to award such to him, because they said there is everything about him is an emperor, that even if people are not enjoying he's not doing anything to warrant them, so they refused. The council, the government called the council met with the Senate said no, we don't agree. So they had to go to another university to award that, and nothing happened. So that shows you that they have this autonomy. So autonomy, what the industrial court has said, like I said on the issue of strike, is what the law says. The federal government has nothing to do in the payment or do anything for any university. The only thing they can do is when they set up the university, being the visitors, they can give them all the necessary infrastructure. Monument and other things, even the development of the university is left to them. And that is the point I was making the other time, that I said that leadership by example is lack of patriotism is throughout the whole leadership system in the country. Each VC should be taxed.
All right.
The money that students are paying, how is it being spent? You understand? All this TSA, the one unified payment account shouldn't apply to university. They don't have anything to do with government when it comes to this issue. The money should go to them. They should sit down. The council and the Senate will decide on how to spend their fund. And everybody will now see which university is making progress and which one is not making progress. And then you will not be able to decide where to go. And then that will also gauge how much they will charge. Because if the quality this university is able to provide good quality and this one cannot provide this quality, obviously the payment will be different.
All right.
So these are the issue. The law, you see, let's follow the law. I always say it anywhere I have the opportunity to talk.
All right.
Once we respect the law, everything in the country will work perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bashir Oladipo. Let's take more reactions via text or WhatsApp and calls. 08000887887. That is the number to call, or 09136556952. Hello, good morning.
Madam, this is calling back from South.
All right, Mr. Davis, good to have you on the program. Go ahead, sir.
In fact, we always respect the man in the house. In fact, he is an encyclopedia. He has said a lot of things.
I'm not, please. I'm only learning.
I just want to pray for him.
Thank you so much.
That the God of wisdom will continue to endow him.
Amen.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Davis. Thank you for that reaction. We appreciate you. Good morning to you. State government should have autonomy to direct security agencies to check those fuel stations that fail to sell and those selling at a high price. That's Olani from A Division. Talking about the first topic we talked about. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Bukola from Gomo.
All right, good to have you on the show. Go ahead.
Kudos to the analyst in the house and Diamond FM.
All right, thank you.
I want to say that the newly president has sworn in gave room to the tech and bad marketers of oil in Nigeria because of the statement. He made the statement in honesty, honestly, but it was misquoted. That's why I would not say that statement is not timely. Even in a Nigerian scenario, where we have bad eggs who want to exploit the poor masses. You can also see what happened yesterday when people were suffering throughout the whole nation. Just because of the statement that something is gone. We all knew that somebody has been this scam all along. But I think the next thing is for the new president to issue a statement or his media aid to now direct the marketers to go back and sell or else. The NFCDC and DPR should go out and arrest them and be prosecuted. If they can do that, then we know that we have a president in action and things have changed unlike the past.
All right, thank you for that reaction. Do not forget the second story, the judgment by the industrial court yesterday as well, that the no work no pay rule by the federal government is perfectly legal. And then they also upheld the fact that the government cannot enforce the IPPIS, cannot impose the IPPIS on members of ASU, that the university has the autonomy to determine how the salaries of lecturers in their universities should be paid. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Please speak up. What's your name and where are you calling from?
It's Zikora. I called back. Can you hear me?
All right, Zikora, we can hear you now.
So, just understand the judgment from yesterday. They are saying that those lecturers or ASU members that went on strike then would not be paid.
That was the judgment.
Now, here is my question. If they are also faulting the government for, because ASU strike, they went on strike because of that whole government is trying to regulate how they are going to pay them using their own body. Since they are also faulting the government for that, and they're also faulting lecturers, shouldn't it be 1-1? Everybody should just cancel the whole thing and they should be paid, because the government was wrong in the first place before they went on the strike. The strike too was wrong according to the judgment. It just makes sense that they should cancel it out for everybody. They were at fault. Government was at fault. Government was at fault first. They wouldn't do actions because it was because of what the government said, and they went on the strike. So it just makes sense to cancel it out for everybody. I don't think acting that they shouldn't be paid for something that the court also saying that the government was wrong for doing also makes no sense to me. Now, what I'm going to also say about this whole forced strike thing is that people should stop saying that the new president should go and ask an NCDC to go and arrest people that will not stay for. I built filling station. I bought land. It's my fuel. I bought it. I can tell to sell or to close down. If you can't force me to sell, it's my business. Government doesn't want it for me.
Zikora, hold on. Zikora. Hello, Zikora. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm here.
All right, but this field that we're talking about, the one you already have in that filling station that you're talking about, has already been subsidized. You have gotten it at a subsidized rate, and now you're refusing to sell because of the pronouncement that the government made. Is that also right?
I'm refusing to sell because my workers are ill, because my mom died as I traveled to the village for a burial. I'm not around. I'm not selling.
Okay.
Mr. Ukeria, let me tell you one thing. In every society, regulations. So you see, you don't have absolute rights. Even fundamental human right is not absolute. So when you say you buy land, and then you can do what you like on your land, you remember that even if you buy land, you cannot say because you bought land, then you want to build a brothel where the law says you cannot build a brothel, even though it's your land. You understand? So you must understand, before you go into any business, you must understand what are the rules and regulations that binds that kind of business within the society. You get my point? And then until when you know that is the guidance within which you can exercise your rights.
All right.
So these are the issues. Then let me say one thing about the issue you talk about, the ASU.
The ASU, yes, please.
You see, the point is this. It's easier to make government remedy something. Tell me, can the ASU now remedy what they have failed to teach to students in terms of the time they will now lose? Even if they say they have been able to find a way to abridge the time, you will still see that somebody is going to suffer. And when you say government was wrong, government wasn't really wrong. What happened is that government introduced a policy, and the ASU felt that policy does not favor them, which is okay. They have a right to say it doesn't favor us, but then that will not make them to say they are going on strike. They can easily go to court and let the court determine whether what government has done is right or wrong.
All right, thank you so much. Let's quickly take some reactions. Onibola Maruf says patriotism is lost among Nigerians. We keep complaining about leaders. Please, those leading us, how many a day? Let the followers decide to be just, steadfast, and patriotic, and let's see how their own unpatriotic acts will affect us. But we, the followers, are worse than the leaders. Just put someone looking wretched in a seat of power and see how worse they will be. Black marketers are selling fuel at exorbitant prices. Please, where are they getting the fuel? They stop selling fuel all of a sudden in Nigeria. A miracle happens that just a pronouncement made by the government, and PMS was exhausted at filling stations. Miracle no dey tire, Jesus. All enemies in this country is all right. Thank you so much for that. Let's see. We have more contributions that we need to quickly run through before we go. Good morning to you in the house. I really salute the knowledge of your guest. Yes, lack of patriotism is one of our problems in Nigeria. If we're more patriotic than this, Nigeria would be better. Subsidy is long overdue. It is high time we do away from subsidy. People should stop making a hill out of a mole of removing subsidy. We should stop making it look like heaven will fall if subsidy is removed. Not only petrol Nigerians are living on. If we have stable, affordable power in Nigeria, things will be better. Abdulwahid Olukoba. This is a very long message, but thank you very much. Good morning. The independent marketers are greedy set of people that are used to holding both Nigerian citizens and the government into ransom. But what we are having is a systemic failure. Where are all the regulatory agencies? What are we waiting for? If some set of people are breaking the law and making life difficult for citizens, they don't need to be told how to do their work. And that's from Olatinwo from Airport. Lots of reactions here. We see all of them, but we need to go. We've really run out of time this morning. So much, Mr. Bashir Olatipo, for coming this morning.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, listeners.
All right.
Thank you, Diamond FM.
All right. Is a legal practitioner.
And thank you, Mrs. Oduwole.
Yes. Thank you so much. He's a legal practitioner, a public affairs analyst, and a social commentator. We really do appreciate you for coming this morning. And thank you to my producers, the news people in the news and current affairs department, the engineers, Adeshewa, everyone. We really do appreciate you. My name is Bisola Oduwole Suleiman. Do ensure you have a lovely rest of the day.
Your one-step dial, Diamond FM, shining supreme.